Hi, I'm Emily and I'm joined by Mark, our technical director, and today we're going to talk about Microsoft's AI transformations and what they really mean to you. So, if you work with a Microsoft license, keep listening. I have some questions for Mark. What's the simplest way to understand this new intelligence layer that you picked up at Microsoft Ignite the other month?
Yeah, so Microsoft have been toying around with Copilot for a while now, a couple of years, and to try and get it all kind of grounded into a new kind of layer, or as Microsoft like to call it, the intelligence layer, the IQ. They're now going to transform Copilot into an entire platform or a layer of its own. So it's no longer going to be embedded apps that we've all seen for the last couple of years in either Windows or Word or PowerPoint or Excel. It's actually going to be a complete layer of its own. And what that means is there's going to be an element for the end user, there's going to be an element for developers, and then right in the middle there's going to be an element for businesses and organizations to utilize the power of Copilot across their entire data set, not just asking Copilot to spruce up an email or a PowerPoint presentation or anything like that.
Could you give me maybe like an example or?
Sure. So what they've done is they've taken this idea of IQ and they've split it down into work, fabric and foundry. So we've got work for the end user, fabric, which is the kind of the fabric of a cushion almost that brings everything together from a data set perspective, and then foundry, which is the kind of grounding and development level of the layer. So what it will mean is it will mean that we haven't got these sporadically placed tools all over the environment that don't really talk to each other or can't really talk to each other, and will allow end users, business managers and developers to work together all in the same layer and get the results they need out of the prompts they're giving Copilot. So it will look at not just customer orders or purchase ledger or a asset tracking system. It will actually look at how the business is using that data and present metrics to both end users and management to be able to fully utilize the way the organization actually uses that data.
And it's not here just yet, is that right? But it's on its way.
Correct, yeah. So it was announced at Ignite in November this year, and it will be coming in kind of early 2026. There is a beta open at the moment to allow that development of the internal application, so to speak. So it will be coming in the new year and very rapidly in the new year.
Is it going to look a little bit like, I know you said it's not the app that's on your taskbar that you might chat to and ask for help and guidance and things, or it's not going to be embedded in apps and things, but what it might look like a dashboard for
absolutely
tools.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like yet, but it's definitely a detraction from that kind of chat element that we are all know of. Some of us love, some of us don't. I talk to my Copilot agent every day on my laptop, and it gets to know me, and it has gotten to know me. But what this will do is it will be almost like Teams or OneDrive or SharePoint. It'll actually be another element to the 365 and Azure tenant that will operate across the entire layer. What that looks like, there's a lot of speculation of how that's going to look. And ultimately, how it looks is how it's going to be implemented and the user adoption. And I think Microsoft have taken that very, very seriously. There were a number of partners at Ignite who have been using it in this form. Again, because of NDAs and everything else, they haven't shared exactly what that looks like. But they've kind of professed quite positively to it being a massive impact to their everyday lives and their businesses. I'm
finding it anyway a little bit difficult to imagine the difference that it might make between someone that's I like writing my own things by myself, thank you very much, and I'm not really interested in someone interfering, such as Copilot that we've come familiar with. And we talk maybe a little bit about the sort of the divergence that can happen that hasn't happened yet, but will very shortly, between people that are getting on board with it and the people that are not yet.
Sure. I think what we'll be seeing going forward in the coming future, in the near future, is taking that prompting, that language of help me do something slightly differently, but actually being able to ask the Copilot layer to go away and look at a set of customers, for example, and the services that we know they use because it's held in internal documentation. What services are not held in that internal documentation? So it's actually allowing Copilot to go away and really digest the information that you've got on your SharePoint, in OneDrive or Teams or Outlook, and actually coming together and proposing a different way of doing things, or potentially like a white label report of services a customer is not using, whether that's within 365 or within their own internal organization, their operations. It's not just a Microsoft tool. So if you're a distribution center, it might look at the time it takes to go from when a customer places an order in your ERP system to when it gets shipped out from the warehouse. Copilot will be able to look at all the pieces of the puzzle and find efficiencies and improvements. And so it actually becomes not just a Gen AI tool, it becomes a valid member of the team that's looking at those efficiencies, as long as the underlying data is there. Because if there's no data there, or it's not in a structured way, you might as well be giving it to a child, because they're not going to be able to find the details. And that's what's really important. The message that we would be bringing to our customers and our prospects in the new year is back to basics, get the building blocks in place now to then take advantage of this intelligence layer when that gets launched next year.
For companies that are, looking at this as an opportunity and sensing, this is something we ought to be getting on board with, what is the sensor's advice for doing it the right way? What sort of things do you need to have in place in order to be ready to take this on at full capacity?
Sure, good question. So most people know the phrase garbage in, garbage out. If you don't have the relevant data in the right security structures, in the right folders, in the right sites, and available today, and just pointing Copilot at that data or pointing that whole intelligent layer is not going to give you the results that you may require or desire. So we would work with customers to make sure that those building blocks are already in place, whether that's site-by-site security or external sharing is configured correctly, the data is in the right format, in the right place, named correctly. And the way you do that is through a journey with the customer. Is you get to know the customer, you become part of that journey, you get to know how their organization works, and then apply the tools to that fabric, as it were.
Thank you. And there can be a bit of a roadmap, as it were, right?
Absolutely, yeah. A roadmap, we like to call it the journey. It's it's one of the things that Vicenza we do. Go on that journey with you, find out what the end goal is, whether that's in 6 or 12 or 18 months. We start to get those building blocks in place now for when this exciting tool, a set of tools, gets deployed early next year.
Well, thanks very much, Mark. If you found this helpful, please follow along. We'll be putting out more content like this. So thanks for listening.
Thanks. Bye-bye.